No, he didn't.
אוקיי, בעזרת השם. Before we do Pasuk Kav Gimel, I want to go back to Pasuk Kaf Aleph, which I mentioned needed a little bit of an attention based on the Pirush of the Gra al Pi HaKabbalah. So the Pasuk says, Maved ve'chayim biyad lashoni. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's me.
Okay. So on Pasuk Kaf Aleph, Maved ve'chayim biyad lashon. But death and life is at the hand of the tongue. Ve'ohaveha yochal piriyah. Whoever loves it, yes, will eat its own fruits, meaning the outcome of it, of the tongue. Yes. So we explained that the Mavet v'Chaim, it's Chaim ze Torah, Mavet is Lashon Hara, Divrei Hevel, Litzanut. Al pi הסוד, the Gaon brings the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat addresses, it brings a story. And the story is that you had two that were
We can't hear you. I can hear you. Huh?
Me neither.
Ahi?
Yes, 1 second. Let me try to see if maybe I can connect.
It says your network is low.
Or maybe you put the video
Hold on.
off and it's better.
Maybe I'm connect somewhere.
Just hear you.
Yeah, hold on. No. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I have. Okay. So the
Yetzirah is the best.
so the Gemara brings a a maaseh with Rav Yehuda and Shmuel. And a woman came and started, and cried in front of Shmuel. And Shmuel didn't pay attention to her. Anyways, Rav Yehuda tells Shmuel, "What do you mean? How can you be so insensitive?" So it's like, this is how we were taught. So Rav Yehuda says, "But HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not forgive to the ones that are insensitive. You cannot be insensitive." And the Gemara goes on and talks about how HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished no, before that, the Gemara talks about the rebuke, about tochacha, right? It says, and if because Shmuel says that this is how he was taught, and above it also the Rashi de Rashi, the Rav of his Rav also, all the way to the Nasi. So the Gemara says, how can it be that there was no rebuke? And the Torah wants to bring a re'aya that whoever does not rebuke and does not make it tochacha, yes, ends up being punished. How? So the Gemara brings an Emra that says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu called Gabriel, an angel Gabriel, and he told him, go down to the city, to Yerushalayim, yes, and put a sign, okay, of ink on all the tzaddikim, so that the angels cannot go and hurt them, and go put a sign of blood on all the reshaim. With me? So that the malachim can go and punish them. And who are those people? These were the people that the tzaddikim gemurim, or the ones that did give the tochachot. The one that had the tub of blood was the one that did not give tochachot. Okay. The Gemara asks that the Midat Adin came in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said, why do you spare the tzaddikim and you don't spare the reshaim? So he says, because these are tzaddikim gemurim and these are reshaim gemurim. So the Gemara says, the Midat Adin say, yeah, you're right. But the tzaddikim gemurim, they should have been mochiach. They should have given tochacha to the reshaim gemurim, and they didn't. Kadosh Baruch Hu had nothing to say, and he accepted with Midat Adin. So what do you see? That even a tzaddik gamur, if he doesn't make the tochacha, he's responsible for the rasha, and he pays for it. That's what Midat Adin wants to say, and Kadosh Baruch Hu accepted the argument of the Midat Adin. Now, this being said, the Gra wants to bring. He brings the sword of the secret of the Tav. The Gemara says, put a sign, and the Gemara calls the sign Tav, right? Tav, like the ot, the letter Tav. So he says, you see that the Hashem used the same Tav for the tzaddik and for the rasha. That means that the Tav, the letter Tav, has in it the ability to give life and the ability to give death. It has a reference to the Tov, and it has a reference to the Ra. Okay. The Tav, yes, Tav, in the letters, the way you pronounce the letters, yes, the Tav is the letter you use the tongue with, T, T. You cannot pronounce the letter Tav unless you use the tongue. That's that's the Yad Lashon. Yes, the Tav, the tongue, yes, has the ability to bring life, which is the Divrei Torah, or it can bring death, which is through the Lashon Hara. Now, says the sword of Alpi, I'm trying to make it very simple, but Tav has a gematria of 400, okay? With, right, the Tav, which represents the tongue, yes, or Tav can make the gematria 400 of maskil. Maskil means intellect, right? Ba'al sechel, somebody intelligent. That's the chacham. But it can also be the letters machshil. Machshil is to make someone fail, is a failure. So the same letters of machshil and maskil mean opposites. And both have the same gematria of 400, which is tav, which is a letter that is used by the tongue. So the tongue and the yad of the tongue, the way you use your tongue, can or turn you into a maskil, into an intellectual, which is a chacham, or turn you into a machshil, a failure, and that makes people fail. This is what Shlomo Melech uses biyad al-lashon, that Chaim and Mavet, both two, that come from the Tov and the Ra, right? The, all are under the power of the tongue. This is why it says, Etz da'at tov vara. Da'at da tav. You have to know the power of the tav. That's da'at. Da, knowledge, tav of the tav. Da'at. Right? It's tov vara. The whole inyan of the Etz da'at tov vara was essentially for Adam and Chava to learn, to know, yes, the power of the Tav, of Chaim and Mavet, of Tov and Ra, so that now they have, now through the Achila, they have to find the Dar of the Tav, right? Before you eat, you don't have Da'at Tov Vara, yes? After Adam Arishon eats from that's a da'at. Tov vara, now his whole avodah is to to know the tav, the power of the lashon, that brings tov or that brings ra, that brings chaim or that brings mitim. Says the Gra, this is the reason why Shlomo HaMelech says mavet vechaim beyad lashon. The ohavea, and whoever who loves it, Yochal Peria will eat its fruit. That's the fruit of the Et Hadat. The fruit, right? Because essentially, the tongue that was once, yes, the power to give Shemot, to elevate, suddenly through the Achila of the Et Hadat, yes, now has the power to give life or to give death, to make a maskil, to create intellect and knowledge and chokhmah, or machshil, destruction and failure. And the whole avodah of the Adam is now to da taf. That's da'at. Tav is also the last letter of the Torah. Okay? Yeah.
Last letter of the Torah.
Yes, of all the alphabet. All the aleph bet is the last letter. Okay? And we know that the pronunciation of the letters are broken into five. Agadazaba. Yes, these are the five ways, the five categories of letters. A from the Garon, Ga from the Chech, Da from the Palais with the tongue, Za, Shinaim, Ba, Sefataim. Right? A, Ga, da, za, ba. It goes from inside, outside, right? And all those 5 different pronunciations are in each one of them, in which each category of those letters, you will find of one of the double letters of the Torah, which is menatzpach, right? Mem, nun, tzadik, pe, chaf are 5 letters that have otiot sofiot. They're doubled, right? Mem, you have mem and mem sofit, nun, nun sofit, pe, pe sofit, tzadik, tzadik sofit, kaf, kaf sofit, right? And in each one, look, ma, mem, na, nun. With the na, you can only say it with the tongue. Right? Ma, na, tz, the tongue, pa, right? Me, na, tzpach, which are the 5 ways of using your mouth to pronunciate. And in the Sha'ar, in Etz Chaim, in Sha'ar Nun He, Sha'ar Kaf He, Sha'ar Kaf He, okay, in Drush Bet. Rabbi Chaim Vital Ari HaKadosh there addresses the sod of these letters kefulot, menatzpah. And he wants to say that the ones that are open, the letters that are open, right, are representing the 5 chasadim that come down from the Ima, the Yesod of Ima, right? This is the abundance. And the setumot, the letters that are kefulot, the mem sofit, nun sofit, the sof, right, means there's an end. And if there's an end, that's midat adin, right? That's the 5 dinim, the 5 letters, the 5 dinim that come down. So in the tav, in all those letters, yes, the tav essentially represent the shlemut of all the otiot, right? To come and tell us that you have Kav Zayin otiot, you have 22 otiot plus the 5 doubles, that makes 27 otiot. Okay? So the 27 otiot are all included in the last one, the last ot that represents all the ot, which is the tav. So the tav, which is representing the yad lashon, which yes, that's how you formulate and you articulate the words through the tongue. Yes, all these otiot end up at the end, right, to depend on the tav, on the way you use your tongue. Okay? So and this is why the tongue creates chayim or creates mavet. Because if the tongue, yes, is the tav, and the tav is all the is all the otiot, right? So the tongue gives life to the otiot of the Torah. So the tongue will create, the Yad HaLashon will create what? Will create the Torah. That's Chaim. When you don't use your tongue to create Torah, and you use it for something else. And we said, what are the other things the guy on the dress? Right? Devarim betelim, nonsense talk. Leitzanut, you make fun of. Lashon hara, bad, right? So now you use that tongue that is given to formulate, to give life to the letters of the Torah and create Chaim. And instead, it's not creating something that's not Chaim. And whatever is not Chaim by default is Mavet. This is the Mavet, the Chaim be'yad lashon. And since any words you say is the fruit of the tongue, okay, whoever loves the tongue and loves talking, right, will end up eating its own fruit. So if you love talking Divrei Torah, you're going to you're going to benefit from the fruit of it, which is the bracha and the chaim of the Torah. And if it's devarim betelim, or it's devarim asurim, or lashon hara, or leitzanut, then the person will benefit, will enjoy those fruits, which is you pay in this case, which is mavet, which is tzarot. This is There's other layers of sodot. Why the word yad? Yes. I will not go. Well, maybe another time. We'll talk about the concept of. טוב. Okay. I give you another sod, just so you understand. Yad Lashon. What is the gematria of Lashon? 386, right? Lamed is 30. Shin is 300. That's 330. Vav, 336. Nun, 50. 386. Yes? Yad, 14. 14 plus 386, 400. Tav. Tav is 400. That's Yad Lashon. That's the secret of the Tav. The sword of the Tav, the sword of Yad Lashon is Chaim and Mavet. That's the Tav. כן?
Starting at 5, every 15 minutes, maybe we'll just sit down and we can,
טוב,
maybe get some tea or something like this. Yeah.
let's continue.
The bathrooms here, if you can move them.
Okay. Pasuk.
So sorry.
We're good? We're good? Okay, Pasuk Kav Gimel. תחנונים ידבר רש. The poor, the misken, the weak, right? When he talks in a way of tahanunim. Yes, yeah, of simplicities.
Did you overwrite Matzah Isha?
Yeah, we did. No, we did Matzah Isha last year.
Okay, sorry.
We did, but I wanted to give more attention to.
Okay. That's
yeah.
what the one I am pending. Okay,
כן.
sorry.
Right? So the Tahanunim is a berash. The poor speaks in the way of Tahanunim, of simplicity. He has to beg. The Ashir Ya'ane Azot, but the rich answer with arrogance or harshness. So there's a few layers of Hidushim here that the Gaon speaks about. First, he says he's referring to Tefillah. When a person prays his Tefillah, it should always be betahanunim. When you pray, you have to beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you have to pray with simplicity, you have to beg him, yes. And how can a person approach Tefillah and speak to Hashem and beg him? Only if he sees himself as a poor. Like we said, like the Bible said, Tefillah le'ani. The Tefillah is, who is the Tefillah belongs to the Ani. So it's only when you feel yourself Ani that you can pray Be'emet Tefillah the proper way. But if you come with self-confidence and ego and strength and you pray, then that's the Tefillah. You don't belong to the Tefillah. So that's Tahununim Ledaber Rash. Ve'ashir, כן? Ve'ashir Ya'ane Azot. This is regarding the Limud Torah. It says when it comes to Torah, that same person that is Ani, when it comes to the Tefillah, he has to look at himself as a Ashir when he teaches Torah, meaning he has to be strong and answer, and he has to have Az, he has to have strength and he has to be harsh. Like the Gemara says, Kol Tamid Chacham she'eno kashe kebarzel eno Tamid Chacham. If a Tamid Chacham is not strong and solid like iron, he's not a real Tamid Chacham. What does that mean? That means that when it comes to tefillah, it's an interaction between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then automatically the relationship puts you in your own place, right? You're a pork in front of us. And when it comes to learning Torah, yes, who are you fighting? You're fighting the Yetzer Hara. You're fighting the Yetzer Hara. You have to be tough like barzel, like iron. That's how you are. That's how you become a Talmid Chacham, and that's also how you don't let anything, yes, get in your way of learning. Another layer of Hidush. It's talking about the relationship between the Talmid, the student, and the Rav. Dainu. When the student comes and speaks to his Rav, he has to talk to his Rav בתחנונים. כל תלמיד חכם שיושב לפני רבו ואין שפתותיו נוטפות מור, תברכנה. If the lips of the student is not filled with more is a spice, right? More meaning he has to speak with words of tahanun, with words of softness in front of his Rav. If he speaks with arrogance or with a chutzpah, the Chacham said it's better that his mouth get burnt. And who is the student compared to his Talmid? He's considered the Ani. He's the Ani in Torah. He's the poor one. And his Rebbe is the Ashir. Okay? And the Ashir, says Shlomo Melech, the Rav, who's considered the Ashir, he has to answer with strength. Why do you have to, you have to be tough and answer with strength and firmness? Because that's how you bring out from your student his real potential. If the student feels that you're too soft, yes, then anything he says can go. So he's never going to learn. But it's only once you inject the Torah in a very firm way that now the Talmid has a compass, has a line of guidance, and he can build himself off that line, of that limit, of that strong statement. Yes? This is a very important lesson in Chinuch. Yes? The Talmid is the son, the boy, the girl, yeah, the child. And the Ashir is the father, the mother. Yes. If the student, the Ben, yes, feel that he's Ashir, which is the tzara, which is the kelala of our generation. Today, that's the biggest problem of chinuch, is that the children has talk to their parents or to their rebbeim as if they're nobodies. Yes. So what happens? So now, who is the Asher? Is the boy, the student, and who is the Rash? Who is the Ani? Is the father and the teacher. Olam hafuch. It's completely the opposite, and that's why the chinuch is so challenged and so complicated today. And that's why even if you have big institutions, because the model has been broken, yes, the chinuch is very, very, very difficult. It's hard to get the talmidim to where you want. Maybe you give them a lot of knowledge, you give them access to a lot of chokhmah, but in terms of the chinuch and building them, yes, it's very, very, הרבה ראיתי ומעט נהניתי. I saw a lot of them, but very few really end up being מחונכים the proper way. So says Shlomo HaMelech, yes, the secret is this hierarchy and that respect. That the child has to talk to his father, has to talk to his Rebbe, as if he's an Ani, he has to understand his makom. But how can he understand his makom? Only if the Rebbe, only if the father is Ashir, behaves like an Ashir, and acts with harshness and strength. Not saying that he has to be too tough, or he has to be too mean, or yes, he has to be harsh, he has to be firm. Yes, he has to have a azut. Why? Because when you create that boundaries, or when you teach and you teach with firmness and with strength, that becomes de facto, okay, in the head of the child, and the child understands that this is a myth. So now, if he has to build himself, he has to build something. He's going to build it around it, and that's what forms him. And it's like you make limitation inside the ground. Yes, these are the foundation. The foundation are the hard walls you put inside, You cannot build above this and past those limitations, right? So the limitations are is the harshness of the Rebbe, the Ashir, and that comes through an approach of the Ashir, and that makes the Talmid, and that helps also and give a chinuch to the Talmid to approach the Chokhmah and the Mechanech from a place of Tahanunim, from a place of Aniyut, understanding that he's there to learn and to enrich himself and not the other way around. That's the second Hidush, the second layer. The third limud from that pasuk is another problem that we face today. Is how does the Talmud responds, yes, to the Rav in times, or to a father, or a son to a father, or whatever, or a child to a parent, when when they are in a time of crisis. Says Shlomo Melech that even if there is a Ashir, meaning there's a father and a Rebbe, and he answers with harshness and he's tough, says the Gaon, the Talmid, the son, should always end up reacting and responding as a Rash, even if he's beaten up, kivyachol, right? Not physically, obviously. Even if he's being talked to in a very harsh way and strong way. The only way you can be a Talmid and become a Talmid Hacham and grow is if you understand that no matter how painful it is, you still have to respond as a Ani. And that applies in the relationship student-rabbi, father-son, etc. Teacher-student. This is these are the three pillars of chinuch that Shlomo Melech addresses, that the Gaon teaches us in this pasuk. Something that needs a lot of chizuk in our generation. A lot of chizuk. Pasuk Kavdalet. Any question on this pasuk?
No, we need a book about it.
Yeah. איש רעים להתרועע. You have friends that keeps you company. ויש אוהב דבק מאח. And you have a lover that is closer to you than a brother. It says the Gaon the following. איש רעים להתרועע, a man that needs to always have company and wants to be around a lot of people all the time in his home. להתרועע, to have a company, but it can be it can also mean frail, yes, fragile. A person that always needs to be around a lot of people, at the end, he's going to break because he's very fragile. Like it says, it's Gemara in Masechet Brachot, כן? לעולם אל ירבה אדם רעים בתוך ביתו. You should not have too many people in your home, because that distraction breaks you at the end, makes you weak. Because if you don't have time for yourself and for your family to build, and all you have is distraction from people, you're never really building, right? So you're going to end up collapsing. So says the Gemara, you should have, but don't have too much. Yes, you have to learn to keep your home a makom kadosh for you and your family, and not have too much distraction. The second limud of that pasuk, v'yesh ohev dabek me'ach, and you have a lover that's closer than a brother. And here the Gaon says something amazing. He says that lover is not somebody that's close to you physically, it's somebody that's far from you physically. He can be somewhere far from you, but there's love between the two of you. And that love, that respect, that bond keeps the two of you fused and strong and connected, more than a regular brother. And he brings a ראיה מפורשת. Where do we see this between David and Jonathan? They loved each other more than the family. And even though they were separated and they couldn't be together, yes, because they loved each other and they respected each other, it kept them very, very close all the time, even if physically they were not so close. And why is that so? The Gaon explained is that because when you develop a friendship and it turns into love, into respect, and you love each other so much, yes, this has been done with a behira. You chose to develop that relationship and build that achva, that achdut. Yes. Therefore, you've built and invested so much that you don't want to break it. You don't want to break it. So you're not going to let go. So you're going to be invested all the time. And it goes on both sides, obviously, both ways, right? And so that synergy keeps on fueling the love and feeding the relationship with strength, right? So it keeps on building itself more and more and more and more and more and bring closer and closer and closer and closer. Keep in mind and bear in mind what the Gaon says, even though you guys are physically not close to each other. And why is that much more than brothers? Because the only thing that keeps brothers together is what? Is the fact that they come from the same mother. But says the problem is that it does the opposite. Because you are born together, you're from the same mother. So because you're born from the same mother, you think that by default you're one. You're the same. So what? You don't put effort in building the relationship. And as you grow, your interests start becoming a conflict because you come from the same mother. Yes. So the two of you desire the same thing. So each one is a threat to the other's interest. Yes. And number one. And number two, you don't develop the relationship because what do you mean? We're brothers and sisters, so we don't need to develop it. Right? So slowly, yes, that relationship that is not fed with ahva ve'ahava starts drifting. And what starts breaking it? The conflict of interest, because both come from the same makor. They come from the same root. They want the same thing. So the nature of the brothers, yes, is to drift apart and break. And the nature of the ohev, of friends, is to build and feed its achva and achdut. And he wants to say it's like we learned, yes, in Perek Yud Zayin. We said that there are three friends that a person has, three close, right? That the person has mammon, his money, kerovav, his family, and gmilut hasadim u'maasim tovim, and the good that he does, the good deeds that he does. So he says, this is what the pasuk says: Ish re'im, the man that wants re'im, that re'im, friends. Re'im, it's plural, right? Two. A minimum of plural is two. Who are those two? He says a person that all he focuses is mamono and kerovav. He relies on his money and he relies on his family. הוא יתרועע וישבר. יתרועע, he's going to end up collapsing. If he builds his trust, yes, and himself on his family and on his money, at the end he's going to find nothing, says the Gaon. They will not follow him in his grave, and they will not be there for him at times of need. Not his money, and not his family. Alors, vous allez bien?
Ah, bien, vous.
Très bien, merci beaucoup, c'est un plaisir. Yes? But that's the choice he made. Says Shlomo HaMelech, do not rely on these two re'im, on these two friends that you identify as friends. However, yesh ohev. There is one that is ohev. And which one is one? Davik. And he's close. You're close to. More than the rest of the others. And what is that? The chesed and the gemilut hasadim. Right? That's the chesed that you do. What is the development of of friends? Why are friends getting so close together? Because all they want is do chesed for each other. They want to complement each other. Oh, you need this, let me help you. I need this, let me help you. And so they build themselves, that their love through the chesed and the gemilut chasadim. Says Shlomo HaMelech, כן, אוהב דבק מאח. The Ohev will be there for you at every time in any step of the way. Not only this, בעולם הזה ובעולם הבא, says what it says the Gaon, that if in this ahava, in this love, in this achva, and in this achdut, you have developed Torah and Yirat Shamayim together, you benefit from each other's Torah and Yirat Shamayim in olam haba to sit together and enjoy it also. So your lover, your friend that you love, yeah, that you build your love from the Torah and the Gemilut Hasadim, not only that you benefit in this world, that you will be here for each other at all time, good times and less good times, until the Kever, but more so, it doesn't stop there. You continue that relationship and that enjoyment in Olam Haba through the Torah that you develop and you learn each other. This is how Shlomo HaMelech concludes the Perek Chai, the Perek Yudchet, the Perek of life. Yeah, he celebrates Shlomo HaMelech celebrates the chapter of life by expressing what is true life. The true life is the love that two friends develop together that is built on Torah, Yirat Shamayim, Gemilut Chasadim, and Achva. And this is the only pillar that stands strong and will never fade in someone's life.
I understand that you cannot rely on the pillar of money, but don't rely on the pillar of family.
We explained why.
No, I understand that that's between brothers, but you have a good relationship with brothers, you have a uncles, you have a father, you have mother.
No, we're not talking.
Kerovav.
We're not talking about father and mother. We're talking about siblings, brothers and sisters. Now, the Torah already witnesses, and we brought the Rabbeinu Bach here also, right? The Torah witnesses that siblings don't get along. The first time in the Torah that you will find a good relationship is Moshe and Aaron. Even the Shvatim had issues. Why? Because everybody takes for granted that we're connected because we're brothers. Now, you can fight nature. Yes. How? By turning the kerovim, the relationship of the blood relationship into a rea, into a ohev, right? But that's something you build. That's not something that comes instinctively. But that if two brothers love each other and are friends and choose to do Gemilut Chasadim and Torah, like we said, that they're going to develop something amazing. Yes. But this is mi'uta de mi'uta de mi'uta. And the proof is that the moment there is a conflict of interest between them, suddenly everything collapses. How many times have we seen it? Brother, we're always together, all vacation together, we eat together, we do everything together. Boom. The moment, we have to split and we have to separate something, milhamet olam. Nobody talks to nobody, everybody sues everybody. Makara. Every vacation you're together, your kids are together, you do everything together, you buy the same thing, you breathe together, you eat together. Makara, what happened? Because they never invested in the relationship. And when you don't invest in the relationship, by default, you drift. And when you both have to now, share what you are owed, mapitom, that's the Yetzer Hara that comes and collapses and destroys everything. What we can learn from it is, in order to save our family and our relationship with our kerovim, we need to make sure from early on, we develop that achva and that bond proactively, so that when the moment of the conflict of interest comes, it's not strong enough that it can break that bond. But if you didn't, which is most of people, then by default, automatically there's a... Yes. How many brothers didn't speak for years? 10 years, 15 years, they don't speak, 20 years. So I cannot... there's not one person that doesn't know a family like this.
It's the nature.
Yeah, it's nature. This is the nature.
Very good.
This is what life is about. Life is about building those relationships. And at the end, the big hidush here that we emphasized on in the beginning is that it has nothing to do with proximity. You don't need to be next to someone day in, day out, like brothers. No, that's not true. It's about what you give to each other, what you invest in each other, not the physical proximity. The opposite. The physical proximity can only bring illusion and delusion because it fools you. Ah, what do you mean? My brother sits next to me all the time. We look at each other all day. So you don't care to develop the relationship. It's taken for granted. Just so that לא לעמוד על הפרק, we're just going to read פסוק א', פסוק in פרק י"ט, טוב רש עולה בתומו, מעיקש שפתיו והוא כסיל. בעזרת השם. טוב. Any questions on... By the way, that's also the sword of Shalom Bayit. Yes? The sword of Shalom Bayit is here also. If you think that because you go and sleep on the same bed and you drink the same coffee and you eat on the same table, you don't need to invest, you're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. Maybe you might not have that conflict of interest at that moment. So you don't have that implosion, yes? But you drift. When do you see there's sonim lo alenu when there is a conflict of interest? When lo alenu they need to separate and one thinks, this is mine, then milchemet olam. Yes? Then you see the chaos that happened. What happened? What do you mean? You guys have children together. You guys love each other. How can you hate each other so much? Because you never built. Because, why? What do you mean? I wake up with her every morning. I go to sleep with her every night. We're together. What do I need to develop? The opposite. That's the secret also. You want to build a relationship. You want to build a shalom bayit. Turn it into a ohev. Invest in it. Focus on the gimilut hasadim between each other. The more you do chesed and the more she does chesed to you, the more you become ohev. You develop the love. And that's davek me'at. That's greater than that.
And the secret of Shalom Bayit maybe also is in the tap, because you have to speak and be...
You have to choose. You have to choose.
Yes.
You have
not
to
to
choose the
only speak
chaim in the time. Nachon?
and choose
ודאי.
right words.
Yad Lashon. Yad Lashon, gematria,
Yad Lashon.
400.
Beautiful.
Maskil, machshil. Same letters. Maskil and machshil, the same letters. Both the same, obviously, gematria, right? So it creates or destroys. That's the Lashon. Chaim v'mavet b'yad Lashon.
But maskil and machshil, one has a half.
Both have chaf.
Maskil. Okay. It's okay.
It's the same letters in a different order.
That's changed. Perfect. Wow.
Same
Maskil.
letters. Sechel.
So beautiful.
Yes.
That's the title of another book. Maskil, machshil. Well, sure.
And they put it on the post-its.
Yes. I'm at home today, but I should do it.
Tav.
If not, I forget. Beautiful. Thank you. Mishlei.
בהצלחה. בהצלחה.
¿Qué es ahora?
רבנית.
שלום רב,
How are you?
איזה יופי.